is she? I don't know either. Hello loves, my name is Wendy Weather. I am the History Drag Queen, and today's gonna be a little bit of a different video. I realized I haven't really introduced Wendy and who she is in my drag persona in like a formal manner. So that's what we're gonna do today. I have a list of questions that I'm going to answer that are kind of like basic knowledge of what you would probably know about your favorite creator. The first question is, how would you like to be addressed? Your pronouns, your real name, drag name? Well, on here, if I am ever presenting as feminine or femme on camera, I would like to probably be addressed as Wendy or Wendy Weather. And pronouns for me in and out of drag are the same. He, she, they. I pretty much identify as a gender fluid individual. I do present more masculine out of drag, but there are some days where I do have a little bit of a femme moment here and there, but I do identify more gender fluid. But as in drag, I would like to be preferred as most likely she, they, and Wendy Weather. My legal name is like very much for intimate people in my life and my interpersonal relationships that are very private. I try to make me out of drag and Wendy very, very separate. Next up, who inspires your drag persona or drag role models? Well, Wendy as a character, a lot of her influences are from cartoon and like old Hollywood a little bit. Mostly Daphne Blake from Scooby-Doo, Marilyn Monroe, and a little bit of Betty Boop. That's kind of like the overarching like vibe of Wendy Weather, and a little bit of old Charles Gibson, like Gibson Girls. The next question is, describe your drag character and or persona via lore or backstory. Well, fun fact, Wendy is its own separate character. Wendy Weather is canonically a escaped government experiment who stole a time machine. So she is literally a time traveling glamazon. She stole a time machine to, run away from this government experiment place, and she's just bouncing from different time periods. Next is, what is your favorite part of being a drag artist and your least favorite part? Ooh, that's a really good question. I think my favorite part of drag is the euphoria I get to experience whilst in drag. Least favorite part is probably, for me specifically, shaving. Hate shaving, hate doing that. So annoying. That's why if you don't really notice without like me telling you, a lot of the things Wendy wears is actually very modest, like very a kind of high neck stuff, long sleeves, because I do not like shaving my entire body. Because out of drag, I'm decently hairy individual, a hairy AMAB individual. So like I don't really like shaving because it takes forever. Just like, for example, even like look at my forearm. Like that takes forever, and that's entire body. Like I'm not about to do that. Even shaving my face for drag, it takes like 30 minutes. Hate that, hate it. Next question is, are there any similarities between you and your drag persona versus you in everyday life? Interesting. I try to keep Wendy and myself very separate. I think Wendy is a little bit more brazen to talk about certain subjects than me out of drag. Me out of drag, I'm actually pretty chill, kind of like campy, but as Wendy, I am pretty more confident in what I want to talk about. Like, oh, this thing that like I would not even talk about and or bring up out of drag, Wendy's gonna bring it up in 5 seconds. Like she's gonna talk about the bad stuff first, because that's just what we do, need to get out of the way. And then we'll talk about fun, great things. But I think Wendy is a little more brazen of what she talks about. And the similarities, I think Wendy, when I started doing drag, I gained so much confidence out of drag when I started doing it. I was a lot more comfortable in my skin. I was kind of more happy-go-lucky a little bit. And I was just more confident in my everyday life. And I think that's what Wendy and me out of drag are very, very similar, because I got it from her. Next question is, are there any stereotypes or misconceptions about your drag that you want to get rid of? I think because I'm predominantly a social media drag artist, a lot of people don't think I can like perform and like give. Guys, I actually do private gigs. Like when I'm not doing social media things, I'm at my day job and or I'm doing private gigs. I don't really do bar stuff because I have a lot of trauma with being in bar venues and being around alcohol that I do not feel comfortable as an individual being around that. I just don't. So I don't put myself in those places. So I do a lot of private gigs at like business events or like team building things. I did dinner theater one time. That was an experience. Anyway, but yeah, I would say misconception about Wendy Weather is that she doesn't like perform and like do actual drag things. Girlie, that's the bare minimum. Of course I do it. That is the bare minimum. Of course I do that. It's just not on my social media. Next question is, what is your drag character known for? Well, Wendy Weather is known as the history drag queen. So because me out of drag, I am a huge fan of history. I actually, part of my degree is in history. So I am a history nerd. And when I started doing drag, I was like, what if I combine like my most favorite things, which is history and drag, and see what happens? And this is what happened. She came out the machine. That's what that was. And so on social media, I started doing history videos while dressed in drag. Just talking about history subjects, helping people learn about history subjects, and that's just kind of what stuck. And it's like a very niche thing, which every drag artist should be doing. Every drag artist should be kind of a niche artist to their field in their industry. You know what I mean? Because it sets you apart and makes you have your uniqueness. So, need to be doing that. Other drag artists, if you haven't done that, find your niche, go, just absolutely run with it, sprint. And I originally got known as the history drag queen back in about 2021, because on the app that is and or was TikTok, I went viral several times with some Victorian videos as well as my Amelia Earhart video that you may or may not have seen me when I looked like this and crazy. And then for years afterwards, it just kind of snowballed into, I think I have produced and scripted over 300 history videos across all my social medias. Like, so many. Like, enough to where it's like, girl, I'm tired. And also, that is over the span of like 5 years. Because I started doing, so I first time I was in drag was October 2019. So October 2019. And then I started doing drag like professionally March 2020. So about 5 years, give or take, 5.5 if you count the October 19, you know. Next question is, how has your drag persona evolved since you first started doing drag? Well, lovely segue. I think Wendy, 2020 Wendy, I think what I actually tried to do was like characters. I tried to be like a character drag artist. Found out I was not really that awesome at that. And then I just started doing weird history things. I'm like, oh, I love doing this and people love it. Okay. And then as Wendy kind of grew, of course, makeup skills get better and worse. You know, they ebb and flow because makeup and doing drag is a skill. If you stop doing it for several months on end, you can lose it. If you stop doing makeup and drag, you might be like next time you're in drag, you might look a little booger, like you might look a little bad. But makeup, my face has changed so many different times. Even right now, my face has evolved from the last time, like the last video I probably posted. So my makeup I try to experiment with, but I always have like a stamp of my high shines. I don't know when I started doing that. I want to say maybe late 2020, maybe 2021, early 2021. Don't really remember when I started doing those, but that's just kind of like the classic Wendy Weather stamp. As like my drag persona has changed, that has always been there no matter what. Next question is, what was your first drag performance? What did you do? What happened? So, my very first drag performance was actually for a birthday party. Yeah, so it was actually, when I was living still in Texas. There is a, like, queer camping community called Rainbow Ranch. And there was a couple guys who needed a drag queen to do like something for like a birthday party. And they found me and they were like, hey, we see you, you know, in this area, you're not terribly far away. Do you want to like do a little number for my friend's birthday? And I'm like, okay, sure, no problem. They gave me $40 for gas, and that was kind of it. They had booked me and a male dancer, and it was in front of 5 people, in front of like these lawn chairs in this like gravel patio in front of an RV. Like it was nothing glamorous. And I did, at the time, I think the most popular song was like Ava Max's Salt is what I did. And I had pulled salt packets out of my brassiere and like threw them and then started walking and immediately slipped on cement like patio. Like immediately slipped, caught myself, thank God, you know, totally fine. But literally my very first drag performance is for a birthday party in the middle of the woods at a gay campground doing Ava Max's Salt, and I busted butt. Like that is the first time I was ever doing a drag performance. I've had numerous well acclaimed drag performances since then, but my first one was an absolute like boo the house down full. And then right after that is when like severe lockdown started. And then I actually just did digital drag, and I if you dig around, you can find like 5 or 6 digital drag performances of me, if you're a good like internet sleuth. So I think the first one I ever did was Baby Shower, and then there was something for like a pride like thing, I think in Iowa that I did. I think there's several different digital drag performances, and then all the stuff I did on Get Dragged and other digital drag competitions. There's those. But as for my very first drag performance, it was kind of boo-boo the fool. It was not good. It was not good. And I only did 2 songs. And I left early, and like the male dancer like stayed and like continued doing his thing. Cause like when I left, like they were like, thank you so much, here's your, you know, gas money, see you later, bye girl, thank you. And the male dancer was still going, doing the whole thing. Like they said, here's your money, doll, please leave. Because I think maybe they there was other activities they did not want me there for. So and the last question is, what are your personal goals for the future of your drag character? Well, I think like my like big dream, like doing Wendy Weather, I would love to have like my own like discovery or travel like or history TV show where I as Wendy Weather go about the world in drag doing history things. Very like drag Josh Gates. That I want to do what Josh Gates is doing, but in drag. That's what I want to do. And with that, that is the last question, my loves. Put in the comments, do you have any other questions that you want to ask me? I will answer them via the comment section. But yeah, this was just going to be a little video about me, who I am, introducing Wendy Weather to you formally. With that, I hope you have a super lovely day, and don't forget to stick around because you might learn something.